Hello, everybody. This is Take the Black Live, the show where myself, Dan Selcke, editor of WintersComing.net, and
me, Mia Johnson, entertainment editor at fansided.com.
talk about all things Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, fantasy, sci-fi, genre, television, movies, awards, actors, actresses, the whole shebang. And we are here today with a full plate because a lot's happening this week. Bizarrely, I don't know, we got back from break and it was just bam, 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 bam.
And time to, open the floodgates.
The TCAs, the Oscars came out. Hello, everybody watching. Hey, Sherry. Hey, everyone else in there. Feel free to comment. We can talk. We can chat. I got a haircut. No one said anything about it yet. I'm very offended by that. Thank you very much, Richard. I thought we would start off with some Game of Thrones stuff, as usual. Hey, Julie. Hope everything's fine. In Australia.
Yeah.
As always. Sympathies for everything happening there. But with some a little happier news. First things first. Fire and Blood, the George R. R. Martin's latest Song of Ice and Fire book that isn't in A Song of Ice and Fire, is getting a paperback edition. Fire and Blood being the book about the history of the Targaryen dynasty that HBO is making into their next show. They are basing the new show House of the Dragon off this thing.
Okay.
Came out in hardback. It was a hit, because of course it is. I think a lot of people, I'm not going to lie, were probably like, a new book from George R. R. Martin, it's here! And then they're like, wait a minute.
Like, if you don't see, the fine print, they think that they've kind of got you. They're like, yeah, look at this. It's not that new.
Thank you, Julie and Harry. Thank you, Julie and Sherry. You guys noticed my haircut, as people should. Thank you very much. I don't suppose you picked that up, have you?
Me? Oh,
Yeah.
you think no.
Yeah, I don't know why I asked.
No. I didn't think I didn't even know that they were reprinting these books to begin with.
It's
so
good.
they are reprints, but just like
It's a paperback
and you know
edition.
what? I'm not
out.
a big paperback fan.
What?
I'm not.
But they're cheaper.
Yeah,
I only
but
do paperbacks.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a fan of the really sturdy. I mean, maybe depending on what the book is, but most times
Sure.
I'm team paperback. I mean team hardcover.
Team hardcover, yes. Diane asks, relatedly, hi, you guys, have you heard anything about House of the Dragon yet? We haven't, Diane. There are starting to be some rumblings, actually. There was, some stuff on Twitter today, earlier. People they've closed down this road in Northern Ireland for the next 3 days for filming, like House of the Dragon. But I was wondering, so this paperback of Fire and Blood, which is what House of the Dragon is based on, is coming out May. I think I wrote it down.
Yeah.
On May 1st. I was wondering, and this is just Hope Springs Eternal section here,
Yeah.
that, if they're going to release the book that they're going to base this new show off around May 1st, might we hear something around then? We're going to coordinate a little bit. Or, even better, maybe he'll use it as a springboard to announce something about the sixth book, Song of Fire series, which I just want to reiterate. I think we should reiterate this whenever we get a chance. George R. R. Martin did promise, kind of jokingly, but it doesn't matter, that he would have The Winds of Winter done by this August, or we could imprison him on a volcanic island off the coast of New Zealand near a lake of sulfuric acid, which does exist. YouTube it sometime. It's really wild. So that's what we're counting down to.
Yeah, I don't want to be in that Facebook group that's all right, how are we going to round up George R. R. Martin? We meet at dawn.
I feel like we should also say, just to do not round up George R. R. Martin ship into a sulfuric acid island, but it is fun to talk about.
We do not advise. But yeah, maybe they are plotting something deeper. It would be
Synergy.
cool to kind of have that going on. Because actually, when did the last season aired in May? Was that right?
Yeah, it ended in May.
So maybe
That would be a
it's
good
kind of
time, right.
a 1 year anniversary. Hey guys, guess who's back? It's us.
And the discourse will ramp on up.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, Sherry loves paperbacks. So
Yeah.
me and Sherry are on team paperback.
That's fine. That's fine.
No
judgment.
competition. It's a fight. It has to be. This is the internet. Haven't you learned anything?
That's
Okay.
true. Pick a side.
Everything wrong with everything is what that is. But speaking of Game of Thrones stuff, also this year, they were going to open the Game of Thrones studio tour at Linen Mills Studio in Corbett, Brainwich, Northern Ireland, where they shot a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
We just got some details. Those are some artist mock-ups of what it'll look like
like
when the
that.
Winterfell section is done. This has been pretty cool. They'll have props, they'll have costumes, they'll have literal sets.
Yeah.
This is where the show was, well, one of the several locations where it was filmed. You got a nice Winterfell set there, pretty cool. A lovely King's Landing
Oh, I would
map room
love
set.
to be out there.
Oh yeah, I would 100% go to this.
I also,
it looks fun.
It makes me wonder if they're going to be open to picture op. I mean, to me, this looks like an Instagrammer's dream. And yeah, just like, just, us normies too, but like just those like being in the set and on the set. But I know sometimes they get particular about those types of things. Like, no, you can't take pictures here, or like you're blocking, or it's like,
I mean, today when like everyone has like a phone, I'm like, it's so hard to prevent taking pictures.
It is, yeah.
Unless you're gonna confiscate my phone, like, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Really?
This is Game of Thrones time. They're on their phones.
That'd be good. And here's a stole or a fur or something. No, it looks pretty cool. It wants 600,000 visitors a year. It's going to employ 200 people full time.
That's
Open
awesome.
12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Well, okay, I don't know specifically where in Northern Ireland this is, but the fact that it is in Northern Ireland, it's like, out of all the places in the world, why we have to make the trek? Well, I guess for some people it's not a trek, but
well, yeah, I mean, it's there because Game of Thrones has, from the beginning and up to now, now, has a very close relationship with Northern Ireland. That's like was its base of operations.
Yeah.
And it fueled the economy of that place. It turned Northern Ireland into a place where Hollywood productions go to film and take seriously. It had a huge effect. I do think, I mean, I'm not going to say it owed it, but it feels appropriate to me that it would be there.
Yeah, I get
that. And, also, that's like where they actually film stuff there. So if you want the authentic experience, you go to Northern Ireland.
All right.
Another film, it's like it's like the Lord of the Rings show on Amazon. Like they're going to New Zealand to do it.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely like a good tourism boost, kind of like how like all the cities wanted like the George Lucas Museum, which we unfortunately lost out on. But at this point, it's like,
if you don't know that, people, that is a sordid tale.
Yeah. So that, or like, I believe there's the Doctor Who Museum somewhere in Wales, because they do like filming on there too. So I get it. And like, if you just are like a really, really big super fan, it's like, maybe it's worth going out there.
By the way, really quick, have to read this comment from Julie because it's brilliant. How's the vodka today, Dan? And I'll just ask, none of your business.
Ooh, take a sip.
That's good. We actually do have a bunch of booze we still need to get through out there.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones booze. So we got to remember to pick that in sometime and just get crunk when we talk about stuff. A huge trek for me, says Julie. Yes, we can get a job there. Why not? 200 people. Will the Hound be there? Asked Marcia. Will the Hound be there? I bet they'll have people come in, like cast members to come in and like do a ribbon cutting or
be nice.
come by occasionally to do stuff. I'm betting it.
I'd like to see the Hound stopping by.
The Hound is like a notorious recluse, the guy who plays him. It's brilliant. He lives on a boat or something.
Wait a minute.
It's great. It's really
like,
fascinating.
okay, just make one exception just for this, please.
Exactly. What's happening in the world of Game of Thrones? So, and Ian Glenn's coming to Con of Thrones this year, which is in Florida. Where is the George Lucas Museum, by the way? Where did it end up?
LA, maybe? I can't say with 100% confidence.
Because we're in Chicago, and we were going to get it for a while, and then these busybodies swooped in and were like, no, it'll block the view from our apartment complexes, and it was awful. The Friends of the Park. I'm an enemy of the Friends of the Park. That's what I am.
No, I'm trying to do like the world's fastest Google search. It's on Alderaan.
On Alderaan. Well, it's not going to be there very long. Kaboom, blam, it's all going to go away.
Yeah, I believe, it's LA. Yeah.
Of course
it
is.
Was
we could have had it in Chicago, and we passed it up because some rich folk like their lakeside views. Ridiculous.
I mean, it's part of it's a whole nother story.
There was nothing in that okay, sorry. That was a while ago. I'm still a little mad about it.
It was the city plans, and they didn't want to, like, obstruct, like, the nature or something like that.
The nature? It's okay. Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
You had some concerns or just some issues you wanted to talk about what's happening in the wide world of Marvel recently.
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
A lot of things. One of the biggest things this week was that Scott Derrickson is no longer the director of Doctor Strange 2, which is called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
What a great title.
It really is.
Such a good title.
It really is.
They are, like, Thor Love and Thunder is a great title, too.
Yeah.
They are killing the title game recently.
That was really good. And this one was the one where they were really supposed to go, like, full on in, like, the horror genre. And I don't think that's going to change because, like, Kevin Feige went up on the stage at San Diego Comic-Con. Was like, this is going to be a horror movie. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be our first, like, real horror movie. And because Scott Derrickson was on the project and he's had, you know, his own little, like, horror projects too, it was like, okay, he's really going to do this justice. So now I'm concerned that, you know, this is once again those, like, creative differences, sort of partings. And there have been rumors. I don't trust the rumors that have come out recently saying, like, he wanted to, like, kill off characters, and Kevin Feige was like, no. But that is where we're left with Doctor Strange.
I mean, what's interesting to me about that is that it seems we could extrapolate a little bit.
Yeah.
So Doctor Strange loses its director, which doesn't happen a lot on Marvel movies. Usually they've been pretty good as opposed to Star Wars, where they turn over like crazy.
Yeah.
Of like keeping stuff in line.
Yeah.
And now we're hearing some rumblings. We also heard this rumor, which to be fair is kind of unconfirmed, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, that the Hawkeye show for Disney Plus has been indefinitely delayed for a while they sort stuff out or look for new people to cast. Which,
that's like,
I mean, we should mention that's not for sure. Someone like Derrickson. Also, less seriously, because they really couldn't help this one. Falcon and the Winter Soldier got delayed because of earthquakes in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's not a thing I would chalk up to.
No, yeah, you can't. You can't
but,
blame nature on. Or can we blame Disney on nature?
But here, the question I'm going to pose to you about this, and to all of you watching the audience, is I think up to now, Marvel has been pretty remarkable in the way that it's made so many successful, popular, critically acclaimed, good movies, one after the other, after the other, after the other, that all tie together in a show of synergy that Kathleen Kennedy can only just weep openly about. Is this a sign that things might be a little rockier now that we're going into uncharted territory?
I really don't. I don't think so. Not yet. I think that we have seen stuff like the whole Josh Whedon thing, like once we get around to like Avengers Age of Ultron, and it's like, okay, you're not going to direct the next Avengers movies.
But even then, like, they recovered pretty nicely.
They recovered with the Russos, with Ant-Man, I believe. Oh, gosh.
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright was supposed to direct that, and so he dropped out of that. I don't know if Scott Derrickson was the first choice for Doctor Strange, but it's like they've had like a few like, you know, switcheroos here and there. So I can't say that this is gonna be like their like unbecoming, or like even with the James Gunn thing with
that all
Guardians
kind
of the Galaxy 3. So they're like, we'll wait it over and then bring him back. So that still hasn't played out either, because he's been doing the Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad 2. So we can't really tell what that's gonna be like. But I can't really like foretell them having just like a full-on like Justice League problem where it's just like,
I agree. I think
where it's like you've got this Frankenstein of a script, which is what I think happened with Rise of Skywalker as well, where you've got like so many people giving their input to the point where it's just like unrecognizable by the time it's over.
Did you see that like the Colin Trevorrow script?
Yeah,
leaked out?
I've got something drafted up about that. Even though I just saw a couple things today, if we're going a little bit off script, that like Collider had sources where they confirmed it. The AV Club had sources where they confirmed that was like the real, like a kind of like original script to Episode 9 Star Wars. So a lot of behind the scenes things coming to light.
The more distance we get, it's interesting too, because like it's all Disney, but there are these two segments like Lucasfilm and Marvel, and one is like just run like clockwork and just so hit out of the park every time. And the other is sort of a mess. It's just cool how interesting how it can just be.
I think what it might be
different.
Is that I really like to have faith in Kevin Feige. So like, I don't know if Disney really throws down the hammer and they're like, okay, we don't like this, it needs to change, or Kevin Feige is like, we need to kind of stick to the script, and that's how he keeps things in line, versus Star Wars is just like, yeah, we'll just whatever happens sort of thing. But
I'm so tired of talking about it.
Yeah.
As Sherry points out, speaking of just superheroes and Disney and Game of Thrones, the new Mutants is finally getting released with Maisie Williams in it.
Surprise.
Oh, it's going to be so weird. It's going to be like looking back in time. Because like it's not, it wasn't made to be part of their MCU.
Right.
But I guess technically they are our Marvel characters, even though they're not going to be MCU characters.
Exactly.
It's going to be strange.
I mean, if you think about it, though, the mutants were all like the part of the X-Men anyway. And the X-Men, because they were Fox, were always independent of the MCU. So we kind of like took it at face value. Like, okay, they are Marvel heroes, but because they're the X-Men, we know that they're not even going to talk about Tony Stark. But
No.
what is interesting is I think that the New
Sarah
Mutants were supposed to like kick off like, okay, now we can have Maisie Williams do like her own, basically have it be like the X-Men, but they're the New Mutants. And now that
Sort of doubting that.
yeah, now that Disney, bought Fox out, it's kind of like, and that is over. So that's kind of sad.
But it'll be nice.
Yeah.
She also points out, Sherry, I wrote this down when we were talking about it, that Fox is open to a Firefly revival, which I would also be into.
Really?
Mini-series I would do, not a whole series. Don't go crazy, people.
Oh, it's been so long. Let them have what they want.
And Britannia is approved for a third season. I am so glad you're enjoying that, Julie. I still have not
Britannia.
gotten around to watching it. I really have to. That and Oak Island. Oak Island is my white whale. Okay, so with all that out of the way,
Oh, yeah.
I thought we would discuss some recent news involving the Academy Awards, the Oscars,
yay.
2020, 82nd, I forget what number it is. But the Oscars were announced, nominations on Monday, and they kicked up some dust. Mia, kick us off. What do you think of the Oscar nominations? Should we read this, the Best Picture nominees, maybe first?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to read that. Best
Let's
Picture
go
nominees
over
for
'em.
this year. Ford versus Ferrari. I didn't see a lot of these, by the way. I'm very sorry. The Irishman. It's too long. I'll see it. Jojo Rabbit. Hitler Story. But it's funny. Joker, which got 11 nominations, the most nominations. The only genre film here, let's count Jojo
Yeah.
Rabbit, Hitler Ghost. And it's Dominate, which I think is important, but also a little spooky because that movie has some issues. Little Women, which I saw and loved. I thought
Yeah,
it beat
I've
the
heard great
crap
things about
out
it.
of The Rise of Skywalker, to be honest with you. I saw those two over the break, and I was like, I'd rather see that one again.
One is more superior.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I thought was a little overrated. Did you see it?
No, my brother told me about it, and he was like, exactly probably what you said. It was a little overrated.
It's a very Hollywood loves to talk about itself. And the whole time I was like, so what's the point of this movie? But okay. Marriage Story, which is very, very good, I hear.
Yeah.
Parasite, which I've got to see. Everyone loves that one. I'm going to see that one.
Yeah.
And the war movie 1917, starring Tommen Baratheon
Yeah.
as a World War I soldier who never cuts away from.
Yeah, I don't know. You could not get me to see a war movie. I'm sorry.
I love war movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I don't know. They kind of have the same things going on in them a lot of the time. So, what are your thoughts? Not about that, just the Oscars in general. Do you have anything you want to discuss?
I think one of the big ones that a lot of people brought up, I don't even know if this was in our, kind of sort of in our notes about just the lack of, I think diversity is the hugest one. People always throw it out. And I don't know if maybe I'm not to say so over it to the point where it's I don't care that there were no who was it? The
Greta
Harriet
Gerwig?
actress was the only woman of color.
Yeah,
or,
so the other.
even in I thought well anyway it's to the point where it's I am just it's so tiring to have this conversation over and over again to the point where it's you almost kind of feel numb to it. It's well, what do we do at this point? Because there were one of the snubs that people said was Lupita Nyong'o in Us, where she played basically two characters, two completely different characters, and it's kind of it's still overwhelmingly white, as they say, and overwhelmingly male. And especially the director's category as well. No Greta Gerwig.
Yeah, that was the one
women
that
at
stirred
all.
up the dust, that no women were nominated in the Best Directors category.
So it's I haven't vocalized this before, but it's I'm kind of tired of this. It's why every year? Why? It's I just want to shake them and be why are you doing this?
I mean, I looked at some stuff. It's interesting because, I think Oscar So White was 2015.
Yeah, it was around
5 years ago. And there's a big outcry about diversity in the award ceremonies. And they made an effort. Hollywood did try, purposely to increase, to diversify the voting block.
Right, yeah.
And there was actually an effort they made. They tried to get
that
people
was
into
good,
there.
yeah.
And it has borne some fruit, but it's all relative, right? So the fruit it bore was that in the past several years, I wrote it down. Tell me I wrote it That, oh no, I can't find it. That women now make up a bigger percentage of it, but it's still only like from like 25 to 30.
The Academy.
The people of color make up. It jumped from
Yeah.
like 15 to 20.
Yeah,
So
the
it's
Academy
not
made
like
an
it's-
effort. Okay, 16% of Academy members are
thank
people
God
of
it's in
color,
there.
up from 8%, and 32% are now women, up from 25%.
It's down there, Dan. Come
Yeah.
on.
We've got our notes prepared.
And in terms of movies, like this year, I think this was a record year
Yeah.
for movies directed by women out
Yeah.
into theaters, which is it's great, it's progress. But at the same time, it's only 15%. I mean, it's not like it's a record year, but it's still pretty low.
It's like progress is progress, but we've still got, ways to go. This does remind me, though, of the BAFTAs, which had, I would say, an even worse time. I don't think they had any people of color, per se, that they nominated. And their response to it, where they, like, put out a formalized, like, apology, which was,
Really?
like, so British. And they're like, oh, well, we're so sorry
Ew.
that this has happened. But unfortunately, there was not, like, a qualified field of candidates or something for us to have chosen
Oh, dear.
to make diverse candidates. Like, ooh, who admits that?
yeah, that's just like
Not like, sorry,
even
we'll
if
do
you
better
believe
next.
that, like
Yeah.
you should put that in writing.
Like, no, none of you all were good enough. Sorry, Queen and Slim, and all these other Harriet. Sorry, we just couldn't acknowledge you. Sorry, you weren't good enough.
I mean, it's a slow, torturous climb.
Yeah.
Overall, I thought the year was pretty good for movies. I saw a lot that I liked. But yeah, I don't think it's anywhere near done grappling with itself yet.
Yeah.
I don't think that journey is over by any
Yeah.
means.
Sherry, I would also like to mention, Sherry says, and once again, Endgame didn't make it. Thank
That's
you.
not
I wouldn't say I'm surprised, but I do think Black Panther last year giving it Best Picture was kind of like, I would love to believe it was in their best interest to give them the Best Picture nomination. But something also about it was like to me, they almost felt pressured to do it, or else they would be like,
With
to
Black
me,
Panther?
yeah, to me, I
Yeah,
would
I
love
could
for
see
them
that.
to feel like genuinely, sincere about the nomination. And I do, it's like, okay, that's great that they did it. But I don't know, something like in the back of my mind is just saying, they just kind of did it just so they can like just have people get off their backs about it. Because that's also when they had the Kevin Hart
I
thing,
agree,
and it was
yeah.
like, okay, let's just give them something to shut up about.
There's just no host.
Yeah, so-
again, I think they're just going with that.
Yeah, no host for this one, so
I would say I would put Endgame over Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
ooh, wow. Yeah, I mean, it was still like, if we're gonna ignore like the whole Martin Scorsese, it's just a theme park movie or whatever.
Oh, wouldn't that have been fun if the Russos
In
like
your
beat him out or something?
face. Oh yeah, Endgame versus Irishman. Oh, I would love to.
Would have been a good time.
See, I think maybe that's what the Oscars needs. Like, they need to shake it up a little bit, because at this point, I'm like, it's just,
I would say, what would you say that the Joker is shaking it up a bit? Because it's weird that there were two giant superhero films this year.
yeah.
Endgame's more successful, but I mean, like, than anything ever. The Joker got in a big way, like 11 nominations. I feel like Joaquin Phoenix is like, it's kind of a lock for Best
Yeah.
Actor.
Yeah.
He was extremely good. I'm
Yeah.
not going to discount
Yeah,
that.
as far as performances.
Do you think you can hold Joker up as here's the Academy crumbling in terms of letting more genre films in? Or is this a weird special case?
This to me also seems like a weird special case, because it does feel like most superhero movies and comic book movies feel like, okay, this is a comic book
Yes.
movie. The Joker has very little to me where it's like this, like 100% is like a comic book
I agree.
movie.
And that was intentional, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
Todd
yeah,
Phillips
right,
wanted to
right.
make something that was more kind of diet Scorsese, basically.
Exactly.
He was-
So I think that's kind of where the Joker slid in. And there's been this whole conversation, like what we're talking about now, like, okay, so does that mean comic book movies or this type of genre movie are allowed to be a part of the Oscars? And I don't know, it would take something like having Endgame, or like, let's say Black Widow gets nominated for Best Picture next year or something like once we have
does now have
those.
2 Oscar nominees in it. Overnight,
Yes.
Black Widow became like
Yeah.
the superhero movie with the high caliber acting talent.
Yeah, Rachel Weisz, Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh.
Obviously,
I'm a
ScarJo.
giant new fan of her.
Yeah.
By the way.
Oh yeah, everyone loves her. Yeah.
From Little Women, she was great.
Apparently, she's dating Zach Braff. I just found that out.
Oh, really?
Not that
well,
we're
now
like
I hate her.
Not that we're a
opinions are
celebrity
well
gossip
down.
site, but I read that yesterday. I was like, oh, okay. So people make their own choices, and that's fine.
I trusted you, Florence Pugh. I thought you were cool.
So that is that. But yeah, so I guess I will watch the Oscars.
Oh, sure.
I will follow through with it, and at some point, I guess it'll get better. But it's like, yeah, when you have names like, and no offense to Tom Hanks, so I love him. It's like this year's nominees: Anthony Hopkins, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, and Brad Pitt. And I don't know what year it is. Like, oh, okay. I thought this was 2020.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
That's
so
funny. And he'll win, Brad Pitt, I think. He was pretty good.
yeah.
He's a good producer. All right, so that's...
That was the Oscars.
That's the Oscars.
That was long-winded.
Very
I don't even think
exciting.
we gosh, I don't even think I have the strength in me to talk about Stephen King.
No, I don't. Oh, it was bad. Look up Twitter and Stephen King if
Yeah.
you have, if you feel like getting really outraged for a minute. He
Yeah.
said some dumb stuff, and then took it back. It was bizarre. Okay, there is a lot of stuff that happened to this week and stuff. So I thought we would go through some other big news items in a kind of lightning round fashion, and just say quickly: are we excited? Are we interested? What do we know? What's happening? And update you on it, and also work through our own complicated feelings on it.
Yes.
In a quick-ish way. Okay, really fast. Lock and Key is a big show by Stephen King's son, incidentally, comic book series. That's February 20th. It's a very popular comic book series. Have you ever heard of it? I never really have, but I know there's a lot of buzz around it. Your opinions on this?
I haven't heard of it until I saw like the promotions.
I was writing up like the synopsis. I hadn't heard of the show before, and it was all like, the Key film moves into the Key house and finds keys to unlock different key realms. Like, you were saying key a lot.
That's a lot of keys.
But hopefully, if I watch it, it falls together more.
Yeah.
It looks interesting.
Yeah.
I'm always up for a new... It's kind of like a spooky Narnia, is what it looks like to
Okay.
me. So I'm all
That's
for
on
that.
Netflix, yeah.
Westworld Season 3 has a release date.
Yes.
March 15th, which is not that far away
Now
at all.
here's something. I finally started watching Westworld.
Really?
And you know what? I found out that I am definitely a sci-fi person over a fantasy person. I knew I was going to love Westworld because I do like the whole, like, kind of reminds me of like Black Mirror and
Totally.
all those things. You know, anything that has to do with like androids or like AI and all that, that really gets me. So I knew I was going to like this. I actually started watching it because I saw that they were kicking off season 3.
Right.
Or they had the announcement at least. And so I was like, let me just get into this once and for all. So
did.
season 3 is coming March 15th. I guess I've got 3 months to binge watch 2 seasons. So that's not terribly.
That's fine. You
That's
should be able to do
not
that.
bad. So I'm actually kind of excited about that.
I'd be curious to hear your opinion on it, because it
yeah.
gets weird in the second season.
I think
So if you have opinions, feel free
I might be
feel free
able to
share
handle
them.
it. We'll talk. Maybe leading up to March 15th, we'll be able to talk
I'm looking
about
forward to it. I enjoyed the first season a lot. Second
Yeah.
season was, but they changed. Without spoiling it, they changed things up for the third season. They're kind of like repiloting a bit, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go.
it. Oh, okay.
It's a show that has a lot of ideas on its brain. It definitely is it has things to say.
I get it.
I think it didn't say them particularly well last season, but if it corrects course, it could be really good.
Okay.
Okay, Penny Dreadful, City of Angels, coming to Showtime April 26th. Did you watch the original Penny Dreadful?
I didn't.
I did. I went back and watched it.
When
it was
that?
like not that long ago, like 2 years. Natalie Dormer serving
Yeah,
all the
Natalie-
face
Whew,
as
wow.
a demoness named Magda. Original show, very beloved, cult hit. The original show was set in Victorian times, and it was all about like it's Frankenstein and it's the Wolfman and Dracula and other
Yeah.
like kind of Victorian kind of characters. Very richly produced, really well acted, like campy material but treated seriously, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. The new one is set in Los Angeles, like in pre-World War II. It's about like
Interesting.
Mexican folklore. And Natalie Dormer serves all the face. Obviously,
Yes.
I love that shot. She has lots of something like that in the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. I think it's an interesting show with a point of view. The original one
yeah,
had, and so does
yeah.
this one. So I'll be watching that.
Interesting. Oh, she looks so good.
She looks really good. I'm glad she's getting work. I'm a little weird because she plays like a Hispanic goddess, like a death goddess of like
really?
Mexican American folklore, and I'm like, you're British, but
Yeah.
okay, we'll just see how that
Okay.
goes. In movie news, Jared Leto is Morbius.
Morbius, yeah.
The
Ooh. The living
Spider-Man.
vampire.
So
yeah.
is that his title, like the living
Yeah,
vampire?
yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, they kind of it gets explained in the trailer. It's basically like he is a vampire, but not like, oh, he is a vampire. He just so happens to have vampire like traits.
Okay, I get it.
I
I get
hope
it.
I'm explaining that.
So he has one of those, like, I'm guessing, one of those like superhero experiments that go wrong. They always do, and he gets, like, blood sucking, white skin, can't go out in the daytime.
Basically,
all the vampire
yeah.
powers, but he isn't an actual killed and resurrected vampire.
Right. So
Great. Really great, Marvel.
Yeah.
Clever.
Well, Sony's really digging through the Spider-Man archives to create their own like Spider-Man universe. Kind of like they want to have their own MCU, and it may or may not pan out well. Something that's interesting though is at the end of this first teaser trailer that we got that came out this week is that Vulture appears, Michael Keaton.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, ooh, are they going to form like a Sinister Six movie where they have all the villains gang up on Spider-Man at some point? I think that's where they've been trying to do that for a while now, but they just haven't like been able to do it because they had to reboot the entire Spider-Man series. So
But it would be kind of cool because,
Yeah.
like, it's like the anti-Avengers. Like, okay, if they're going to lead up to a big Avengers movie, all the heroes get together, we'll just do the villain thing.
yeah, basically. And what they had was there was also like a little cameo shot of Spider-Man in there. And it's like, ooh, Spider-Man's a murderer and everybody hates him. And it's like, you really buy that? Okay. So,
Oh my God, they just dropped news about House of the Dragon
ooh, wow.
to launch in 2022. It says House of the Dragon launch 2022. HBO boss on more Game of Thrones and pilot that didn't go. Oh my God, things are breaking.
Ooh,
okay, this just
okay.
in: House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones prequel show about the Targaryens, to launch in 2022. I'll read this deadline article really quick. My guess, sometime in 2022. He said they are starting writing. Said Blois, who is the kind of the programming president guy. Yeah, there you go.
All right, well.
Obviously, it's a big, complicated show, Blois said. That's really helpful, Blois. Thank you so much. For me right now, I think getting House of the Dragon on the air will be the #1 priority. There are no other blinking green lights or anything like that. Sometime down the road, who knows? But there are no immediate plans. We are focusing on House of the Dragon. That's for like other Game of Thrones
I
prequels.
get it. Yeah.
And then he also talks about what happened to the other Game of Thrones pilot that didn't go.
Uh-oh.
Casey Blois' voice. I don't know what he sounds like, so I'll just talk normal. In development, in pilots, sometimes things come together, sometimes they don't. One of the things I think Jane Goldman took on beautifully, which was a challenge, there was a lot more role creation before, because she said hers 8,000 years before the Mothership show, so it required a lot more. That is a big swing. One of the things about House of the Dragon, there is a text, Fire and Blood, we talked about it earlier. Oh my God, circulation.
Yeah.
There is a book, so that made a little bit more of a roadmap for a series order. Even between the lines, she wrote horrible characters, I guess. I think Jane did a beautiful job. It was a big challenge, but there was nothing that I would point to and say, oh, that one element did not work, just overall did not quite gel. That's one of the reasons when we started out to think about, is there a life after Game of Thrones in terms of Game of Thrones? We purposely developed multiple projects. We would have been very lucky to do one pilot, have that pilot go and be a success, but development, as you know, it takes a lot of tries to get it right. This is no different. All right, there you go. House of the Dragon coming 2022-ish.
All right.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a big show about featuring lots of dragons and people with very expensive
Yeah.
white wigs,
Yeah.
you're going to need a year or two to get it right.
Wow, okay. I mean, yeah, 2 years sounds reasonable.
Yeah, that works. Sherry says that perhaps George is done and now is happy with House of the
that's
Dragon. I doubt it.
Aw, don't get our hopes up.
That is a while. 2 years is a while to wait.
Yeah.
But I mean, look,
Production-wise,
I mean, it's Game of Thrones' own fault. By the end of it, it was looking so great. Like, if
Yeah.
that's the standard they want to hit, they can't get it out this year. It's not happening. There's
oh,
no
yeah.
way.
Yeah. So,
It'll be a while, but I'll be 50, but
wait
it'll
a
be
minute.
fine. Exciting stuff, though.
Yeah.
Good. We
Yeah,
have a
that's
release date
interesting.
thing. I wonder if they'll have writing or castings answered soon. I hope they cast fun people. I hope they cast
Yeah.
Naomi Watts. I hope they cast Cheryl. I hope they cast Meryl Streep. I hope they cast everybody.
Meryl Streep.
She's on an HBO show. Why not?
That's true.
She could play Dina Targaryen or whatever.
Dream casting
Nancy
right
Targaryen.
there. Nancy.
And finally, one other thing I wanted to hit before we
Yes.
signed off was today, because the TCAs are happening, the Television Critics Association Press Tour, which is why all this new stuff is breaking this week, and all this stuff is going up crazy. The guy who's running the Wheel of Time show at Amazon, Rafe Judkins, who got to start as a Survivor contestant, by the way.
Oh.
It can go anywhere your career.
Interesting.
Released an official set photo from the Wheel of Time set on a mysterious mountaintop somewhere.
Oh.
So they're rolling on that. I'm betting that'll be like 2021. So we're going to have all these big fantasy shows come out, and then it's going to fall to HBO to be like, and now the original.
Yeah.
The original comes back. Can it beat them all? We'll see.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm excited about that. I have not
Yeah.
gotten around to reading The Wheel of Time yet, because it's like 14 books, and I'm already reading other stuff, but I will do it. It's 14 books, and they're all very long. The guy died in the middle of writing them. Someone else had to complete them.
Oh.
This is years ago.
Okay.
But,
Well,
yeah, that's true. Fantasy authors just tend to go on.
they got a lot to
It's-
say.
it's a
They got a lot. Maybe it's just like they just have these fantastical worlds in their minds, and it's like there's no way I can just stop right now. I have to give everybody a story and everybody a quest and all that. Which, I mean, that's good to have a creative mind. I would love to have something like that.
Oh, sure. We all
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
We can write it together. I have so many ideas.
Oh, snap.
Julie says, of course, I wonder if Winds will be out by then. Nah. Oh, God. I do too. There's a definite possibility that won't be. If we're here 2 years later and George Martin is still going like, yeah, I'm working on it, it's coming along, but, I'm just trying to break through the story. But that'll be then. Well, what a fun little capper to this episode to get some breaking news.
Yeah, a lot.
Any other comments you want to make about anything
Fans
here?
are crying. Outlander. Yes, Outlander.
Outlander, yes, and Picard is right around the corner.
Picard, yeah. I
That's
think some
like
people are seeing
2 weeks.
screenings or something, so I think the reviews might start coming in.
Yeah.
That should be exciting. But, yeah.
It's already out for season 2 already.
Yeah.
Because they know they have to invest a lot of time in these now, so they can't afford to wait and see, is it good? People like it before renewing it. They got to do it now.
Yeah. Well, that's how
Thanks,
it
Game of
is.
Thrones.
Yeah. Look at what you've done.
What hath you wrought? Some interesting times what you've wrought. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
Oh, I think we're all good here.
In that case, I'm going to sign off with a desperate plea for anybody watching, if they're interested, to go on iTunes, Google Play, wherever podcasts are available, and rate us 1,000,000 stars. Leave a review that just heaps praise upon our hosting abilities and insight. And, that'll help us expand our reach if we can. And we'll be back here next Wednesday. Maybe a little more of a House of the Dragon breakdown, because now I want to get into it.
Yeah.
Here at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Windows Command Facebook page. Hope to see you then, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.